am not a financial advisor. All information in this video is for entertainment purposes only. My channel is sponsored by the XX network, so I have a bias towards the XX network. You can't teach anybody anything, only make them realize the answers are already inside them. Galileo.
Currency of sorts. What do you think about this? Is it a good, is it a bad thing? And what are the legal complications that come from printing your own money?
Yeah, so people should, just for disclosure, I'm on the board of Ripple, which obviously produces XRP. So I'm a...
Rosie Rios, former Treasurer of the United States and Ripple board member, she often conflates XRP and Ripple. She's done this on numerous occasions as well as tweeted about it.
Which obviously produces XRP.
Every Ripple employee goes through great lengths to separate XRP and Ripple. Yet Rosie Rios says that obviously Ripple's producing XRP. Ripple employees are extremely careful on how they speak. They always separate this. So why doesn't Rosie give a shit?
Gary Gensler is our new SEC chair, who I've known forever, is a dear friend, and I think he is the right person to start and continue these conversations.
Maybe because she already knows what the outcome is and it doesn't matter to her.
Former Treasurer Rosie Rios, welcome back to Treasury.
Very much involved in Treasury. I was on the Biden Treasury transition team. This is actually, now I'm in my fourth tour of duty, if you will. So I was just recently appointed by President Biden to be the chair of the Congressional Commission that's planning the nation's 250th anniversary in 2026, 4 years from now. Big job. Very excited. It's my fourth tour of duty, but...
Rosie Rios was just appointed to be active in Treasury for our transition team. Rosie and Gary Gensler are dear friends, and Gary is using the SEC as a stepping stone for her career as the Treasurer of the United States. Rosie is in a position of power, so Gary has to play politics even though he is head of the SEC.
And if there was going to be a settlement, it would be from within 90 days of when they were forced to turn over the documents. And so my timeline agrees with Jeremy Hogan in that sense. Ongoing and future sales of XRP by Ripple and in the secondary market are not secured. That if they don't get that, there's not a settlement. If they get that, there's a settlement within minutes. I mean, I'm paraphrasing Stuart Alderati, but he basically said, not to me, to the world, that a settlement happens very quickly if that happens. And if I'm advising Gary Gensler, I'm saying, look, these emails definitely are going to cause issue. We can seal all of this up right now in a settlement. Also, we're really going to loot, Gary. We're going to lose. Let's see if Ripple will pay, let's pick $100 million. Let's take that victory. We can narrow it and say that, each crypto is fact and circumstances, and just because XRP is not a security, and that doesn't mean the others aren't, and we can still go after each other one. To me, I'd be in Gary's ear saying, you can get on TV, instead of talking about Kim Kardashian with $1.3 million, dude, you could get up there and say that you held this company responsible. There's one of these big fintech companies. You got $100 million in addition to the $100 million you got from BlockFi. You're holding these companies accountable. You could just spin it politically. You can imagine all the spin masters. It would make us vomit, right? Personally, to hear him spin it into a victory, but he could.
The Hinman emails are incriminating, and if the Ripple case continues, they will eventually be brought to light. This would paint Gary in a negative light. If they settle, they can make Ripple pay a hefty fine and claim it as a victory, while still leaving the door open for crypto assets more broadly. That's a win-win for Gary.
I also believe that the one thing rule, just getting stablecoins done.
Yeah, it's the lowest hanging fruit.
It's the lowest hanging fruit, but it would also signal to the rest of the crypto market, primarily the institutional investor market.
Yeah.
I actually think that if you, and this is a speculation, that if you got this thing done with just stablecoins and you got it regulated, it would increase the value of a lot of different positions I have, including
I'm happy to hear that.
Because they would make the assumption, because we're stuck in a 17 to 22 range on Bitcoin, and we're never going to get out of that if we don't get institutional support. It's just going to sit there forever. It's not a bad outcome for miners of scale. They're getting awards at 7,000 to 8,000. They're trading them at 17 to 20, but it's really getting old, and it's losing its momentum as as an idea because it can't seem to get anywhere.
Well, this is a breakthrough moment technologically, in terms of user experience, in terms of regulatory, in terms of people delivering on the real utility value of all of this. And I think you're dialed into all the right themes for what's needed here.
I think I am, but I go everywhere where I can make, when I can talk about it to people that will listen. I'm very fortunate to have a massive platform to speak to, but there's a fatigue in this market now.
Yeah.
And there's a lack of adoption, and there's a lack of wallets that we talked about. There's a lack of a lot of stuff, and it's really coming to the front now. People are saying, we got to break through this. It's like a giant log jam.
Yeah. Well, that is what we are trying to do as an industry, and Converge is we're bringing all the players together, and the big theme is from speculative value to utility value. Like, that's the key. We got.
The regulation of stablecoins will give institutions the signal to invest more boldly in crypto. We are progressing from speculation to utility. The XRP ledger permits any institution to create their own stablecoins, as we've seen with Navati. Navati released a stablecoin on the XRP ledger only recently, accompanied by a PDF announcing their intention to study stablecoins with Victoria University. The market is exhausted, and from our perspective, that is a good thing, because we know where it's headed.
It is a necessary condition for institutional adoption. We are absolutely sure that institutional adoption is inevitable, but somebody has to build a robust, safe, compliant infrastructure for it. That's exactly what we do.
Standard Chartered was an early Ripple investor. They are absolutely sure that the institutional money is coming, and that's why they're building out the infrastructure.
Blockchain digital assets is a subset of that conviction. I think of blockchain as a foundational technology for a lot of different things, which will become very seamless over time. And we think of digital assets as a new asset class, which is just here to stay, and will become an integral part of our lives. And therefore, we have a very important job to do in terms of enabling it and building and maintaining the infrastructure for it.
This is a Ledger Insights article. It says Basel crypto rules largest banks can have 20 billion combined in engagement. It says Basel 3 crypto asset proposal. So they give you 3 different groups: tokenized traditional assets like gold, silver, oil, futures contracts. All these things can be tokenized and hosted on public chains, stable coins, and then everything else like Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, these types of coins. So 20 billion in exposure to the crypto assets, which totals 2 trillion, limiting their combined group 2 crypto assets exposure to 20 billion. The crypto market is currently worth 950 billion. So together the banks could have a maximum exposure of 2% of the whole cryptocurrency market. And the Basel III requirements are banking regulations for all of the big banks.
To what stakeholders, clients specifically, are telling us. So it's a long way of saying, if you listen to clients, they were telling us things. We'd like you to do this for us. Clients were asking us about digital assets. This is an emerging asset class. What are the possibilities? What could we do with them? By the way, institutional clients, can we trade them? Can we keep them? And there was just an element of being aware of these requests and needs, the emerging needs or very real needs already, and trying to address them. So that is the basis of banking, frankly, any service business, generally speaking.
The banks can spend up to 2 trillion in tokenized assets, stable coins, and crypto. They have been investing in this space, which is proof that it has a future. But we are moving away from speculation to utility. What are the possibilities? What can we do with them? Coins with true utility, coins that solve real problems, will have the brightest future.
So the question really is, what happens if this goes on? Companies get bigger, we got big tech, governments get bigger. As the companies get bigger, when the company serves 3 billion people, then that means one bureaucrat can make one phone call to that company and potentially turn off all of the information flowing to all 3 billion people over the weekend. right? This is it's a new idea, and it's a disturbing idea. The story of Atlas Shrugged is the story of individuals struggling against the collective, and eventually they realize it's a corrupt and a rigged game, and they can't succeed at it. And the solution that John Galt offers is to withdraw from the corrupt economy. So should we follow John Galt's example? Should we just withdraw from a corrupt economy? Can we? Well, obviously we haven't. If another famous writer, Robert Heinlein, he had a quote. He said, "You don't win wars by dying for your country. You win wars by making the other guy die for his country." And we don't want to be martyrs. We want to be winners. And that is the challenge we face today. There's no point in going on strike unless you've formed a union first. Just going on strike without the organization in advance is just self-inflicted martyrdom. Bitcoin is a union. I'm going to leave the thought and continue with...
From big tech to big government, there have been repeated instances of abuse of power that have led to negative consequences for the everyday Joe. Now it seems the banks are adopting crypto, fiat is failing, and decentralized networks are forming. The banks are adopting cryptocurrency because they see the writing on the wall. Fiat is failing. Centralized entities have overextended themselves, and the abuse of power is becoming more and more visible. Decentralized networks are forming to challenge the status quo, and the banks are taking notice. What does this entail for the future? I believe that the banks are utilizing this tech to try to construct a dystopian nightmare. However, eventually I think that they will push too far, and those who have access to open source tools will fight back.
The group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside physical notes and coins. Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK. And governments and central banks across the world are working together, looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice. This includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, would be energy efficient and available to everyone. A potential CBDC could offer businesses and consumers new ways to pay in the future. It's all part of the wider story of digital innovation that has delivered benefits to millions around the world and in the UK. The decision on whether to launch a central bank digital currency is for each country to make, and no G7 jurisdiction has yet made that choice. These decisions raise important questions about the reshaping of our economy, financial systems, and the way in which people interact with money and payments. That's why working together and careful evaluation with our international partners is essential. In the UK, earlier this year, I announced a new joint task force between the Treasury and the Bank of England to look into a potential CBDC as a complement to cash and bank deposits. We're also hearing from firms, technology experts and others. Under the leadership of the UK, this report today will help support and inform exploration of CBDCs in the G7 and beyond. With these principles, the G7 is leading an important step change in the global policy conversation. The report covers a range of important matters, such as financial stability, cyber resilience, energy efficiency, privacy, inclusion, and tackling illicit finance.
When you deposit cash into the bank, it becomes the bank's liability. This money gets shuffled around and is often invested with leverage. For example, the UK's Bank of England had to bail out pension funds due to something called LDI, or liability-driven investments. In simple terms, these risk-averse pension funds were leveraging up bonds or gilts. This turned into a systemic risk where the Bank of England had to reverse course from their mandate of lowering inflation to printing money. A retail CBDC is a liability of the central bank. The government is planning to spend to win over voters with energy and inflation relief. If this money was given directly to the people, it would bypass the fractional reserve lending systems that banks use to lever deposits. The UK is one of the largest economies, and pension funds should be the least risky funds, yet they were on the brink of destruction. If it's happening in the UK, it's plausible it will happen in the rest of the world. This is why the G7 has released guidance for retail CBDCs.
Does it require an overhaul of the legacy infrastructure?
Not really. Typically, what we see in the market and what we also suggest our customers to do is to adopt the new technology gradually. So not to introduce things in a big bang to change the operating model completely for their participants, because that's usually a non-starter. Like, nobody wants to have huge capital expenditure just to get started playing. So what we suggest and what we see the market doing is taking a gradual approach where you keep the existing infrastructure and you integrate with it, so that over time you can incrementally move to the new technology and start to gain those efficiencies that tokenization promises.
We have seen numerous companies such as Finastra, Tata, ECS Fin, Temenos, SAP, Synachron, and Accenture partner with Ripple and other companies. The banks have kept the existing infrastructure but updated it to newer software. These platforms have API access to RippleNet, which offers the utilization of XRP products. The transition is slow, but the plumbing is set. And as ODL volume is increasing and XRP becomes more liquid, the more money can be pushed through the XRP ledger. The AMM proposal coming to the XRP ledger is going to aid in liquidity and give us a chance to contribute to liquidity pools. This is an opportunity for us to earn yield on all of the money that travels through the XRP ledger.
There has to be a framework. There has to be tracks in place in order for the train to move forward. And again, this is where it's hard for the government, because we're not always in that first car. We're usually in the caboose trying to catch up. But I do believe in that optionality. I do believe that everyone, this kind of financial inclusion, access to all types of ways of commerce, the train's already left the station. It's already happening. It's us, it's we who have to catch up.
The development of the Internet of Value is a complex and ongoing process with many different factors. However, if the legal issues can be resolved, it is key to unlocking the true potential of this technology. While high prices from investments are one issue, consistent usage by major players is another. The last bull run was focused on memes and Ponzi schemes, but the utility bull run is what really matters. Rosie, who works at the Treasury and is influential with lawmakers, sees the same future that we do. All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them. Galileo. Thanks everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. If you enjoy work like this, please consider joining my Patreon to help support my channel.